Hi!
Hello.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
but we saw Wonder Woman.
Yeah, like almost a week ago.
Well, more than a week ago. Last Monday.
Yeah. So
this past Monday, so
yeah, 6 days.
6 days. Yeah, almost a week.
Either way, yeah, it was really good. Like, many people say it's the best DCEU movie so far, and I can believe it, even though we've only seen one other one.
That's pretty much because The Dark Knight isn't. The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises aren't in this universe.
Yeah,
they're
they're their own contained, self-contained. Same thing with the Tim Burton Batmans and the other Superman movies. Yeah, but regardless.
Speaking of Batman, we can talk about Adam West even slightly. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But it's still worth bringing up because he's such synonymous with DC nowadays.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone knows the 60s Batman by now. Even if you haven't watched it. And you know of the actor because he's been in Fairly Odd Parents and Family Guy. And
even made a cameo in an episode of the 90s Batman animated series as the Grey Ghost.
Yeah. He was our childhood Batman's childhood Batman, basically. Mm-hmm. But we have to actually talk about Wonder Woman, which is hilariously a 2.5 hour flashback.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, so was Titanic. Which oddly enough took place at a similar time period.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe Diana could have stopped it if she was in America.
It was the superhero movie of dreams. And it was.
But
it really was.
Yeah, it stars Gal
Gadot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that actually, I just had a funny revelation. You know how in Titanic there's this dynamic between the protagonist Rose and Jack Dawson. You know, this sort of Romeo Juliet relationship.
Right.
We'll get into later how there's sort of a very similar thing going on in the Wonder Woman movie, and yet done even somewhat better.
Yeah, but it's trying to basically follow up right after Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
Like she gets a package from, like, that's a picture of her and all the guys, like a really old school World War I photo.
The thing is, it starts with that, like this sort of armored truck or van or whatever with was it Wayne Industries?
Wayne Industries, yeah.
On the side of it, but the thing is, the way they set it up, like it was all like caged inside and locked heavily. I was thinking, like, what are they transporting a supervillain? What is it?
No, it just turns out to be a photo of her from World War I.
I found that kind of a nice twist. And then it was like a bait and switch, like it was building it up to be some sort of like super duper weapon thing, and it's just like this.
When you think about it, it's also like her backstory is basically kind of secret to, like, her. Is that kind of secret? Like, you don't want supervillains to get at it.
So it was a nice bait and switch.
Yeah.
I like.
She also got an email from Bruce Wayne, I think, basically saying, I've seen the photo. Maybe one day you'll tell me the story.
It was specifically, I found your origin. Maybe someday you can tell me your story. And I like the way that they word that, like, origin story.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then it flashes.
It's almost like it's self-aware.
Yeah. And then it flashes back. Apparently, I think from what I've seen, this was one of the first superhero movies directed by a woman.
Yeah.
Which is very nice and very appropriate for Wonder Woman being a very strong female superhero.
Yeah. I've heard, I think a woman is also going to be directing the Black Panther movie. I'm not sure. I think it's like an African American woman. I could be wrong. But
they did release a preview, like a teaser recently, like a couple days ago.
For Black Panther?
Yes.
Huh.
But it flashes back to Themyscira as Diana as a small child. It gives her it gives the backstory of all the Amazonians living on Themyscira.
Yeah, so it's kind of like if you took Asgard and then put it on an island.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think they did a good a good job giving both sides of the story for Diana's mother and Diana's aunt. On one side is she shouldn't fight because there's no, like, it's not a guaranteed threat. Like, there's no guarantee.
Well, it's not just that, but being her mother, she was very protective, and she didn't want her to get hurt or to lose her, because she knew that if Diana had to fulfill her destiny, as she explained just on her way off the island, that it could be the last time she'd get to see her.
Yeah, and her aunt basically saying she needs to be trained because this is going to happen, and
she will bring balance to the world.
It'd be better for her to be trained so she actually doesn't die. But then
so that the whole damn world doesn't die.
Yeah, and then Steve Trevor crashes into the ocean.
Yeah, played by the new Captain Kirk, who doesn't actually talk like this, but I will talk like this just
Chris
because I
Pine.
can.
Yes, Chris Pine.
That's the only problem I really had with that casting is, for no fault of his own, just the same way William Shatner will always be seen as Captain Kirk, now I can't unsee Chris Pine as Captain Kirk. But
so she jumps off a cliff, like, after they had a whole training montage showing her the last, I think they showed her, but her sword that they referred to in the movie as the God Killer.
Yeah, so jumping at, like, that kind of reminded me of in the Power Rangers movie, hey, I have superpowers, I can jump off a cliff and not die.
Tempted to include jumping the shark, but there were no sharks in that water. But she saves him right as German soldiers basically try and get to the island, because it's shown like there's a massive fog around the island to obscure vision and try and make sure people can't find it.
Kind of similar to Skull Island, but better. But that's another thing we need to mention. Everyone, even me a few times while watching the damn movie, kept mistaking it for World War II, even though it's actually World War I, but that's the thing. It's because Hollywood has so oversaturated and cliched World War II as a set piece that it's easy to forget that World War I existed.
Yeah. But so the Germans find the island. Diana saves Steve Trevor, and they initiate a battle between the Amazonians and the Germans, which is basically bows and arrows versus guns.
And, interestingly enough, since they're frickin' Amazonians, they actually were held up quite well, and with Diana's help, defeated all the Germans in a few minutes.
Yeah, not before one of them got a lucky shot on her aunt.
Yeah, but a few other Amazonians obviously got shot, but they were red shirts, they didn't have to...
It's kind of the exact same thing as the Native Americans versus the Europeans when those two fought. It was Native Americans using bows and arrows versus...
Perhaps,
but it's the exact kind of scenario where you don't expect bows and arrows to win because you're battling against guns.
Or, the Ewoks.
Yeah, or the Ewoks. So, at that point, Diana is completely under delusion that Ares is causing this. Throughout the whole movie, she's just obsessed with Ares.
Yeah, so I was kind of getting the impression that Ares is the DC equivalent of Loki. I am burdened with glorious purpose.
And they go into the whole backstory of he killed the gods because he had different views in them, and Zeus created the Amazonians for the sole purpose of killing Ares, and this. There are multiple backstories they could have gone for Diana, and I'm not gonna talk about that yet. But I was surprised by the one they chose, because I saw a lot of people thinking this would correlate to the New 52, which was her backstory of Diana is the daughter of Ares, which they didn't do, but I saw people speculating that they might go with that story.
I'm your father. I'm a dork.
The New 52 is weird.
Yeah,
and also not
just watch Linkara's videos for
I was gonna say, and not very good when compared to Rebirth. But
yeah, again, just Linkara. Just watch it.
And then they go into, they actually describe how the lasso of truth works, because Steve, he's sitting there the whole time, like on his knees, like, this is the worst pain I've ever felt, as he's wrapped in the lasso, and he's telling them his backstory on what he's doing, because he's a British spy, even though he's not even trying a British accent.
No, but he explained before that he's an American.
Oh, okay.
It's just that he was hired by the British to be a spy for them. You know, it's World War I. There's a lot of
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
but anyway.
And then we cut. And then one of the best parts of this movie is the interaction between Diana and Steve Trevor, because literally, like, they're on a boat.
Yeah, no, before that. No, the pool scene.
Oh, yeah, the pool. she asks him, because Amazonians are a whole race of women, they don't interact with the outside world very much, so she's asking him, are all human men like you?
He's like, well, I'm above average. Well, I mean, he was working out for that movie, so you could say that.
I think he was thinking of his I'm pretty sure his brain was not here.
Yeah, obviously, and that leads to one of the funniest lines in the movie. Is like, she's looking at like, what is that? He's like, this is
a watch.
The watch. Oh yeah,
because it's been it's an above the waist camera shot the whole time. Because he's not wearing pants.
PG-13.
Yeah, because he's not wearing pants.
Yeah. Because he just got out of the hot spray.
Yeah. But then Diana decides to go against his mother will, and there was an awesome scene of her, like, she jumped off a hill again.
Yeah.
Even this time she took a running jump, which Billy did the exact same thing.
Yeah, like in Power.
Yes, that's why I said Billy.
Yeah.
He did.
And
so
then,
then
she discovers that she has super strength, so she doesn't even need to grab onto anything. She can just punch her hands into the stone.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
And suddenly Superman is just like, oh, I should have done that.
Well, Superman doesn't need to do that. He can fly. At least.
And Diana can jump far, which was basically the first depiction of Superman's powers before he could fly.
He leap high buildings. Yeah.
Jump far.
Yeah.
But it had a nice scene of her grabbing her lasso, grabbing the sword, which I don't actually know the comic book name of, but it could be God Killer. I don't know. We don't. And then they go on a boat because they're
and her shield, obviously.
Oh yeah, and her
because
shield.
We haven't ripped off Captain America enough yet.
Well, she's always had her shield.
I know, but again, we haven't ripped off Captain America enough yet, or Captain America hasn't ripped off DC enough yet.
Yeah.
Either way,
I've even seen an article that says, what's the actor's name? I can't remember.
the guy who plays Captain America.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says he wants
something.
Yeah, he said he wants to work with Wonder
Chris
Woman.
Evans.
Yeah, he said I saw an article saying he would want to work with her after watching that movie.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, and I actually want to see that. I mean, I know the movies won't be able to do that, but you know, Death Battle, make this happen.
I just imagine them looking at each other and then looking at their shields and be like, oh, well. But then they go on a boat because Diana's she wants Steve Trevor to take her to Ares, even though they spent the whole movie building up Ares, and then I love that they pulled another fake out.
Yeah.
But her mother comes and they hug, and she's like, my greatest blessing has become my greatest...
Yeah, you're her greatest joy is because you have always been my greatest joy, but today you're my greatest sorrow.
Yes,
like
yeah.
I'm good at memorizing quotes.
So then they go out, then they leave, like, on the boat, and then we have another ridiculously awkward scene where they're both thinking different things of what the means sleep together means. Because we know Steve Trevor's thinking with his dick again.
Yeah.
And Diana's like, sleep. We must sleep together. And, no, we don't sleep together.
Oh my. Speaking of.
And then they talk about marriage for a random minute.
Yeah,
Or, like, people-
and a nice little commentary on it that I was surprised that would have been.
Diana's like, do they always? It's like Chris is like, Steve Trevor's like,
yeah.
and then they say their vows and they love each other till death do us part. And Diana's like, do they?
Do they?
Do they?
And he's like, no, most of the time, no.
And I think Diana's like, then why?
He's like, I have no idea.
And it's a classic fish out of water story, but I like it more because Diana's not that, like, she actually understands everything. She's like, they literally start talking about sex without saying it, and she's like, yes, I've read all 7 books of somebody's take on it and about pleasure, about reproduction.
About the pleasures of the flesh or something.
Yeah, and she's like, reproduction. I think Steve Trevor asked her how she was born, and she was like, Zeus molded us out of clay.
Well, she said, my mother molded me out of clay, and then Zeus gave me life or something.
I love Steve Trevor's reaction, like, oh, well, that's neat. There's nothing else you could say, but oh, okay.
Well, the thing is, after all he'd seen, he's like, well, I don't think I can actually be surprised by anything anymore.
Yeah.
That's how I would have.
Yeah, and they lie down next to each other, and he's still upset. He's like, they're still talking about it, and she's like, it was determined that men are unnecessary for pleasure. And he's like, oh, damn. Because who wouldn't want to bang Wonder Woman, really?
Well, I'm a furry, so,
Okay, besides you. Any normal man would, I guess, take that opportunity to try. I think he asked her also if she brought protection.
I don't remember that.
There was something.
No.
There was something.
He couldn't have. They didn't have protection back then. That was invented in the 60s.
Okay. I think they said something about pleasure, and he's like, did you bring any?
Oh, the books. No, the books.
The books.
Yeah, did you bring them?
Yeah.
It was the books. Yeah, because,
Who would bring them?
But protection didn't exist until the 60s.
Yeah. Why would she bring books on that? Whatever.
Yeah.
Books aren't going to help you in battle. And she only brought
again, thinking with his lower horn.
Yeah. True. So then they have a whole montage of fish out of water in Britain.
Yeah.
With him, and they had a nice little commentary on what women were doing in that time period, with his secretary being a woman. And Diana questioning that.
Yeah, that like the secretary describes that I do whatever my employer tells me to do, and Diana's like, back where I live we call that slavery, and the secretary is like, I like this woman.
And she also was like, well, the pay's good. He pays me well.
Yeah.
So it was like that. This movie was a lot of commentaries on things. Like it very much like to poke fun at stuff that used to be normal back in those days.
Yeah, another interesting thing to mention is when this sort of meeting of like generals and stuff, when she sort of forces her way into the room where after Trevor, all the generals, they're all male, obviously.
They're like, what, a woman?
Yeah, like
yeah,
get this woman out of here.
Yeah, back in those days, it was in the World Wars. It was the whole idea that men went to war, women stayed at home and watched the kids. Like that was the idea, and women had to fight just to be allowed to work in factories making weapons. For the war. Like no women were allowed at war.
Oh, speaking of women in factories making weapons.
What?
Oh, just one of the villains.
Oh, right. Oh, the scientist.
One of the most amazing comic book villains, and not even a main villain, just sort of a side villain. That was, Rule 63, Phantom of the Opera lady.
Yeah, with the mask.
Yeah. The porcelain mask is like a really interesting aesthetic there. It's like just this porcelain mask that has a slit in it to allow her to.
Yeah.
But yeah, they. I can't
was
remember her actual character name, but her nickname was Dr. Poison, which is amazing.
Yeah, she was making new chemical weapons for the Germans to fighting in World War One. She ended up in this movie creating mustard gas, which was the first indication to me that was World War One, because that was when mustard gas was created for that war, right around that time.
Yeah.
Because the Americans had never seen anything like that before, and it took a long time during the war before they were able to actually make things to stop against mustard gas.
Yeah, because basically what mustard gas is hydrochloric acid not dissolved in water. It is the gaseous form of hydrochloric acid. Therefore, when it comes into contact with water, it instantly becomes hydrochloric acid.
Yeah.
That is why it's so nasty.
And she was working for a general who was apparently actually based on a real person. Like, the name they gave was actually based on
Doofendorf?
Yeah. From what I saw, I didn't read the full thing, but apparently based on an actual general from World War One.
Oh boy, that's never a good idea to actually insert a real life person's name into a fictional movie, especially if that character is a villain.
Yeah.
Unless it's Hitler, because everyone knows Hitler, but I mean, aside from that.
Yeah, she also was making for him little magic pills that revived him, because he was, like, I guess in his 60s or something.
No, it wasn't just that. It wasn't pills either. It was this. It was kind of like this super serum inhalant that basically gave him, for a few minutes, superpowers, super strength. It's like instant super serum in a bottle.
Yeah, I think she basically said this will bring you back.
Well, no, it will. I mean, because he was sort of like
give you back your strength or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because he established earlier that he hadn't slept in a few days because he expected everyone to be working around the clock. Yeah. But
when his soldiers complained, his reaction was just bullet in the chest. So he's. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, there was a nice montage of her trying on different clothes from the era.
Yeah, Diana.
Yeah, Diana, which is why I'm wearing a fedora. And her complaining about it.
Well, that's because they all had skirts that made it impossible for her to freaking walk.
Because as I said, most women weren't going into battle at that. No women were going to battle at the time. So the clothes weren't. The clothes were more for fashion. Yeah. And Diana doesn't care about fashion because she doesn't wear pants in her regular superhero outfit. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember what else. She had to give. Right after they left that room, because Diana piped up about wanting to, forget what she was doing, but all the generals wanted peace.
Yeah, this I can't remember what they called it, but a pina or something, but anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then they leave, and then one of the generals, the guy, there was one guy in there who couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, he had a mustache, and I swear I'm probably wrong, but it looked like the same actor who played that sniper hunter guy, and also the protagonist's father in Jumanji. But again, that was 20 years ago, so it's probably not the same guy.
But once they leave, he comes out and he decides he's gonna fund them a way to get to the war, because that's where Diana.
But another funny line before that, Steve Trevor and her, they storm out and and he explains to her, we are going, we're not. We're not gonna sit around. We're just gonna go, and then, but explaining to her to make sure that to let him know that he's not lying. He wraps the lasso around his wrist and
he's like, why did I do that?
No, not just that, but no, yes, we are going. Oh, this is a stupid idea. We need backup.
Yeah, what we forgot. I think we forgot to mention is, it did a flashback for Steve Trevor. and how he infiltrated Dr. Poison
Yes,
and stole her book of notes, which had written in a different language, but it had
German, obviously.
No, it was multiple languages. Remember?
Oh right, yeah.
But he stole her book, which had all her formulas in it, and he had to bring it back to the guys who were paying him, and none of them could understand it. And Diane took one look at it and was like, "Oh, this is formulas." Like she instantly read it because, as you said, she's
fluent in over
like
100 forms of communication.
Yeah.
C-3PO, human cyborg relation.
And he basically brought it to them, and they had to, because that was what they found out about mustard gas, was that moment that she started reading it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the mustache guy comes out and he's like, "I'm gonna fund you to go to the war." They're gonna go to the front line.
Yeah, because they meet up with their little,
secretary, slave.
No, not just the secretary, but their little posse.
Yeah, random groups of Steve Trevor's friends that I can't even remember their names.
Yeah, there was Scottish guy, there was East Indian guy.
Who also spoke a bunch of languages and also was obsessed with Diana.
Yeah. It was basically the Lando Calrissian of the group.
And there was also later Native American guy.
Yeah. Which leads, of course, to another funny line when, he's explaining why he sort of just lives out in the woods, because, decades ago or a long time ago, like, his people were, forced out of their land, so he just sort of lives out in the woods because it makes him feel free. And Diana asks, "Who forced you from your land?" And he points at Steve Trevor at his people.
Yeah, which I think also why I brought up the whole Native American versus European invaders scenario.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a victim of that.
Yeah.
But it also showed nice montage of his Scottish guy getting into a bar fight, and then Diana punching the guy. All she had to do was punch him once, and be like, "Oh crap, we're not gonna fight you." Oh, well, they tried, but then there's them whole getting to the war, meeting up with the Native American guy, and then going and saving a town that was under occupation.
Well, not just that, but before that, one of the coolest scenes in the movie, even before the town scene, which is also cool, where basically they go into the trenches, the front, as it was called, and Diana's seeing all these people crying and suffering. This mother in particular, she's, "Please help! My home has been taken over," and Diana's like, "We have to do something. We have to, help all these people." And Steve Trevor's basically like, "We can't help everyone. We're here to do a job, and we can't just stroll across no man's land. There's a reason they call it no man's land." And she's like, "You can't." And then she suits up and just
jumps out, blocks most of the single fire with her gauntlets, and then when they bring out machine gun fire, she has to block it with her shield.
Yeah. So basically, this badass scene of her just plowing right through no man's land and just all the machines doing nothing, and then Steve Trevor
into
notices,
the trenches.
Yeah, Stephen Trevor notices she's drawing the fire. Let's go.
Yeah. So then they start shooting people, providing backup, because the Scottish guy is apparently a sniper with PTSD. Because boy, that sounds fun.
Which part?
No, but then she jumps into the trenches, starts beating people up because she's not trying to kill them.
Yeah, that's what the Americans are doing.
Yeah. The whole time she's been saying, "Oh, once I beat Ares, all these people will be free of their and just stop this war."
Again,
like she's just under the.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, she's under the delusion that Ares is causing everything.
We'll get to that.
Yeah,
but yeah, then the after they basically retcon all of history by beating the trench wars in 2 minutes. Yeah. They go to the town that had been overtaken, and she basically does the same thing there. Just like one-shotting every single German soldier in there with a little bit of help here and there from a little posse of mere mortals.
Yeah, we had one scene where there was a sniper in the clock tower, and then the Scottish guy was like down here, and they were trying to get him to fire, but he was having really bad PTSD moments, and he couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
So then Diana just jumped up with her shield and punched the guy.
Actually, it was a little callback to that original battle on the beach on Themyscira, where shield, and then two soldiers helping another one her jump leap onto a higher by jumping onto the shield. So that's what Steve Trevor thinks to do. They basically take this plate of sheet metal and just
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then we had a nice scene of everyone, all the townsfolk coming out to party and have fun because they've been probably occupied for a long time.
And
dancing, and this is the scene where we get the photo that Diana was delivered to at the start of the movie, because at this point one of the townsmen takes a photo of them all together. Diana, Steve Trevor, and the band of stereotypes. I don't know. I actually can't remember their names.
Yeah,
Scottish guy, and there was a nice bit of character development where they talk about why each of the people battle at the war, because there was a scene between Diana and the not the Scottish guy. What was the guy you called?
The Indian,
the
East Indian guy?
Yeah. He's like,
this guy.
Yeah. He's like, I wanted to be an actor, but I didn't have a choice. I had to join the war to fight. Like, everyone has to fight their own battle.
No, it wasn't just that, but because of the time period, it was because he was dark-skinned. That he wasn't, that nobody wanted to take him on as an actor because that was the time period.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
This movie is just a social commentary on...
and then of course, the Scottish guy starts singing and playing the piano in the cantina, and it was like, I haven't heard him sing in years, and then of course they start dancing, doing the waltz.
This is the thing I noticed. Just watching Diana smile, like not just this, it made me I may think it looked like Gal Gadot was having so much fun as the character, which it felt that much more believable that she was standing there just having fun, smiling, like just looking at her smile. It felt such a heartfelt, nice moment. I was like, wow.
I always find in any movie I see, if the actors are having fun, I'm having fun, basically.
Yeah,
it makes it more believable. If the actors are just there to get a paycheck, you can tell.
Yeah.
But if they're actually having fun on set, even if it's the stupidest premise, stupidest dialogue, stupidest movie ever, like a frickin' Roland Emmerich movie, if the actors are having fun, I don't care.
Yeah. So, before I think I bring this up. I'm not 100% sure how accurate it is, but apparently the movie has been banned in Gal Gadot's home country of Israel. She's from Israel, and from what I read, she was she trained a lot of the military in Israel. Like, she was so good, like she was a trainer for them before she came to America and became a fitness model. But apparently, just because I think of her race, it got banned in her home country.
Of her what?
Because she's Israeli.
That doesn't make any
the actress.
But I mean, why would they? That doesn't make any sense.
It's Middle East. It doesn't make sense.
No, Israel isn't just. It's the Jewish country. Why would that doesn't make any sense.
I read that. I'm not 100%. I'm not sure if that information is 100% accurate. It could have been forged with. I know, she's just reading her backstory. She's really interesting.
Yeah, but Israel, that's Jewish country. Whatever. Moving on.
Yeah. Because we have to get back to the plot.
So then they have to go after Ludendorff and whatnot. So they
infiltrate a party he's throwing because she perfected the mustard gas, and then he used it in another scene to...
Oh, wait, but before that...
to kill...
Wait, before that.
Are you sure?
Yes. Hold on. So, like, Steve Trevor is like, undercover and at that party is, pretending to schmooze Dr. Poison, and all that, and but then, of course, Diana, as she keeps doing, sneaks her way into the party after having stolen a lady's dress.
But the scene I'm thinking of was actually before that.
What?
Where he had all the members of the German High Council in a room, and then he set off. He wants to keep fighting Ludendorff, but the German Council wants peace, so they're ready to end the war because they've run out of rations and ammunition. Yeah. So then he's like, no, screw you. He threw in a mustard gas canister that Dr. Poison had perfected, and then threw in a gas mask. And then as he left, Dr. Poison's like, the gas mask isn't going to work. He's like, but they don't know that. They don't know. And they start laughing and walking away. That's the reason that he's throwing the party, was because of he perfected the mustard gas.
Yeah. But then, now we're on to the scene where, Steve Trevor is just schmoozing up Dr. Poison.
They basically, the Native American guy stole a car, and they're like, where'd you get that? And he's like, they're just a bunch over there. But it was Steve Trevor and the Indian guy, and the Indian guy's basically playing the slave. He's like, oh, I screwed up, I forgot his invitation. Yeah. And Steve Trevor is playing the cheesiest German accent you could possibly imagine, trying to be a German, just to get into the party. Yeah. And he's like, the Indian guy's like, they're so begging and so grovelly that the soldier's like, screw it, just go. Like, we're sick of you, just go. So then he gets into the party to move on to woo.
Is it not the droids you're looking for?
Yeah, to woo Dr. Poison.
Yeah.
With more cheesy German.
Yeah, and sort of poetic. I can see entropy in your eyes. It is beautiful. Fire is entropy. Blah 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 blah. But then, of course, Diana being Diana, she stole a woman's dress and infiltrated her way into the party. Of course, distracting Steve Trevor, and obviously, Dr. Poison's like, well,
I see where your eye really is. And Diana's trying to talk
because more of that innuendo.
Yes, Diana is basically dancing with Ludendorff. Like, they start talking. They start going over the history of the gods.
Yeah, because she basically sort of sets him up for it, and then he starts going on this tangent, that Ares was the best of all the gods, and war is the only way. Basically,
trying to say that he's Ares, but without.
Yeah.
This is basically part one of the fake out.
Yeah.
So as she's getting ready to pull out her sword that she has in the back of her dress.
Yeah.
After dancing with him, Steve Trevor walks over and stops her to let friggin' Ludendorff get away. Because I think he wanted to find out where the gas is, because they didn't exactly get to that point yet.
Yeah.
So he gets away, Ludendorff gets away, they follow him to basically this giant, there's a bunker that's like giant strip of land with buildings on it, and there were bunker, like a bunch of airplanes.
No, actually before that.
Before that, they saw fireworks.
It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't fireworks.
Oh, right. They killed the town.
Yeah, everyone, basically just the ultimate, bummer moment, that town where they just saved is such a relief, and they partied and everything, everyone, all the innocent people just dead.
Yeah. And Diana walks into the gas because she can survive it. Because reasons?
Because she's Wonder Woman. She's
made out of clay. She doesn't have a regular anatomy as a regular human.
Again, the bait and switch a little later, part of it.
Yeah.
But basically she's not mortal.
No.
She never was.
Nope.
But yeah.
Steve Trevor walks up and he's like, oh god, I can't stay. Diana!
Yeah, so basically she blames him for not letting her kill Ludendorff, for
not stopping that from happening. She thinks she could have stopped the gas,
But by
killing
killing
him.
Ludendorff because she thought he was Ares, and that would, end the war, all wars if she killed Ares. But then later, I can't remember what happened in between, but they do go to.
No, I think that's just the next scene. Is they go to the military compound.
Yeah.
Basically, and she singles off Ludendorff, who's like in a watchtower.
Yeah.
And they have a small fight.
Again, another bait and switch with him taking another one of those super serums. Basically, allowing him to put up a good fight against her.
And then she gets him on the roof, and she recites her war cry. Not a war cry, but the thing she's been said since birth, like, in my honor to kill, my duty to kill Ares or whatever. Like she said, she has a little speech there before she stabs him in the chest, Ludendorff in the chest, right through the building. Like it goes through him, through the building, into through the ceiling. Where if you stood in the room, you could see the point of the sword through the ceiling.
And no blood because PG-13.
Yeah. And Steve Trevor gets there as not right away. Oh no. I think he gets
maybe like a minute after.
Yeah, he gets there. He sees it. But nobody stops. Nothing is stopped. Like killing Ludendorff has done nothing.
She just sort of looks around and is like, "Why are they still fighting? I don't understand."
And Steve Trevor tries to convince her. It's like they might just be bad people, and it might not be Ares controlling them. It just be like their own decision, their own free will to be bad people.
Yeah, but then she
which confuses her.
Yeah, and then she sort of goes like, "My mother was right. You don't deserve me."
Which is weirdly objectifying.
But yeah, anyway,
like not Diana saying it, but just men don't deserve a woman as pretty as her. That's
no, I mean, yeah, but anyway,
more innuendo.
But yeah, but then we get our little
the bait and switch comes to
which we.
I don't think I actually saw coming. Like,
no, me neither.
There was nothing in the movie to say who was Ares. Like,
apparently some other people figured it out. Like, I think the Nostalgia Critic and Doug figured it out pretty early on. But yeah, we didn't.
I don't know how, but they're just.
Well, because they're movie critics, they do that stuff all the time.
But it turns out, there was an earlier scene with Steve Trevor's secretary and the British general in a room.
Yeah, the mustache guy.
They were telling Steve, don't go. Like they were like Steve called from the front line, like talking about the party, and the British guy was like, don't go. You're not allowed to go. I forbid you to go. And then he asked the secretary, how likely is it that they'll do what I told them to? And she's like, 0%, or like highly unlikely.
Yeah.
So it turns out he was Ares.
Yeah.
He appears in front of Diana as basically a voice before the actual body showed up with it.
Yeah.
And he was just basically teleporting around the room as fast as possible to like whenever she tried to.
Are you ever not going to fall for that? I'm sorry, I can't help the Loki comparison.
Yeah, that makes sense. But then they start having a back and forth where he basically is the most arrogant dickhead. He's like, I was right.
He's Ares. He's supposed to be the god of discord and chaos, much the same way Loki is in Norse mythology.
Yeah, so Dana keeps trying to stab him, and she eventually gets her sword to him, but it just sticks out his palm, and he disintegrates the sword, saying, "This is not the god killer. You are."
Yeah.
Basically, he says that she is the daughter of Zeus and an Amazonian.
Yeah.
A love child between Zeus and an Amazonian. And the sister.
So basically, Greek Jesus.
There's even more of that later.
Briefly, but yeah.
But yeah, so it turns out she's a god, or a demigod.
Yeah.
And then they start having a really badass fight scene. The whole last section of the movie is a fight scene between Ares and Diana.
Mm-hmm.
With Ares having a really badass armor, not a transformation, but like an armor up. Like he pulls out thunder out of the, like, he does basically everything Zeus does. Zeus light.
Yeah. Discount Zeus.
Yeah. Dollar store Zeus. Really
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Made by factory workers in China, even though that doesn't apply. Most things in the dollar
also
store.
discount Loki.
Yeah.
Because I haven't milked that one enough yet.
No, but there was a really badass where he summoned all his armor and like his. It's basically I'm telling. Like, and he pulls fire swords out of nowhere, out of the ground.
Yeah. So
They have a fight. He keeps trying to use lightning on her, but she blocks it and absorbs it with her gauntlets because of magic.
and because, Star Wars.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And also at that time, Steve Trevor and the guys are trying to find a way to stop the mustard gas that's being loaded onto a giant plane. Like, not even like an old. I think it was like the next. I think they said something about the next step in like an advanced plane at that time. Like the next step of plane development.
It kind of looked more like a World War II bomber.
I think that's probably the idea.
Yeah, but
it's like that was where the planes were going, and that was like the Germans had the newest planes before everyone else did.
Yeah.
So Steve Trevor knocks out the pilot, and he flies into the sky after speaking to Diana, and she couldn't understand him because she was having vertigo.
No, it was because an explosion had blown out her eardrums briefly.
Yeah. And then he flies the plane, and it explodes.
Well, that's because they explained earlier that the gas is hydrogen-based, therefore highly flammable.
And he set it off, killing himself and all the mustard gas with him.
Yeah, and then Diana's like, no.
And it cuts back to that scene where he's trying to talk to her, but it decides to turn up the clarity on what he actually said.
Yeah,
I forget exactly what he said, but part of it was "I love you."
Yeah, it's basically like I have to go. I have to stop this.
I love you.
Yeah. So and he gives her his lucky watch.
Oh yeah.
Which also was found in that briefcase in the two bookends of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm just reminded there was an earlier scene like in that pool scene. He was wearing the watch. And he's like. She had no understanding of what time was.
Yeah.
She's like, why? You let things tell you how to live your life. Which is amusing.
Yeah.
It's amusing.
Why do they spend so much of the in-between time wearing digital watches?
But then Diana ends up defeating Ares with the lightning from her gauntlets. After saying goodbye, brother, and then just blasting with enough lightning to kill him.
Unlimited power. Yeah.
It's like, alright, Mace Windu. Oh wait, that was up, not down.
I am Thor, master of lightning, because I have not milked this enough yet.
And then it cuts to basically the war is over, back in Britain with like a wall showing like war heroes and Steve Trevor being a war hero.
Yeah.
And Diana standing there with like in her cloak trying to hide herself, looking at it and almost crying, looking at her watch and then walking away, and that's the end of the flashback.
Yeah. And then
it cuts back to her in the modern day.
Yeah, I think it was Paris or somewhere in France.
I don't think it actually said where it was.
Yeah.
That's something I'm glad I noticed. And maybe just be the CinemaSins in me, but it didn't actually say where any of the battles were, which is normally gets like a point for CinemaSins whenever they tell you where location.
Well, one thing you have to keep in mind, in the DC universe, there are no actual real world cities. They're basically fictional cities like Gotham and Metropolis and
Star City
and stuff like that.
Bloodhaven.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in Marvel, they do use the real city names, but in DC they make up city names.
There's fictional Britain and fictional France. Frictional France. But then she replies to Bruce Wayne's email with something, I forget what it was, and then puts puts on her half-naked armor, and then stands on the building and then jumps off it. And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah, so...
And there is no post-credit scene.
Yeah, so
if you were wondering.
We made that mistake. We sat and there was nothing. And
yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of something funny I did in the theater. Like the people up behind us, two young women. Like one of them was like, I hate Batfleck. He's too girly, Batman. And I started going, well, at least he sounds better than Christian Bale in his growly Batman voice. And for the next half a minute, I just kept doing that impression.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Batman. The funny thing, I saw Pirates the week before, and apparently the new Pirates movie has an end credit scene, which I skipped out on. And then this one, I'm like, okay, we're gonna stay for the end credit scene. Oh, it turns out there's no end credit scene. It's just really freaking long credits. Like it felt like the credits were freaking like really long.
Yeah, but we may see that today again, or we may see the Mummy.
Yeah.
But we're gonna see Captain Underpants first because
we pretty much have to go soon.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah. I've seen people say it as the best DC movie to date. It definitely comparing it to anything comparing it to Man of Steel, comparing it to Batman vs Superman.
I haven't seen either of those. I don't think you have either, but we did see Suicide Squad, which I thought was okay.
I tried watching Man of Steel when it was on TV randomly. I couldn't sit through Superman's backstory. I'm just okay, I don't care. Where's the fighting? I literally it was I turned it on and it was going through his backstory of the flashbacks in the movie, flashing back to him as a kid, and I'm I already know the Superman backstory. Get on with it. I don't care. This is boring. I don't care. Him saving his schoolmates from a drowning bus. I'm okay, but I don't really care. So yeah, I couldn't sit through Man of Steel.
Yeah. I mean, we did like Suicide Squad, but
we're probably in the
far from perfect.
Yeah, we're in the minority of people that probably liked Suicide Squad.
Yeah, we admit it had its flaws, but we were able to forgive them.
Yes. But Wonder Woman overall.
Yeah. So
it's definitely they went for more of a standalone movie feel than a movie within a giant universe. There were hints to the bigger universe.
Obviously with the Bruce Wayne thing.
Yeah. But overall, it definitely felt like a good standalone, and I want to see. There's definitely potential for a sequel, which apparently they've already confirmed.
Yeah, obviously.
And with Steve Trevor, they could bring him back a million ways, however they want to, whenever they want to. Just like Marvel does with any character named Steve Coulson.
No, it wasn't Steve Coulson, it was Phil Coulson.
Oh, Phil Coulson, sorry.
Yeah, but I don't think they will. It's highly unlikely they will. He served his function in this story. It would be degrading to his character, actually, to bring him back. Besides, they'd have to age him up almost 100 years. It would be ridiculous.
It would be like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Penny Carter compared to Captain America, the First Avenger, Penny, I think that's her name.
Yeah, it's just...
Because that was her own, she got her own spin-off television show where she was young.
But yeah, she appeared briefly in Winter Soldier as an old lady with Alzheimer's. It would be unnecessary. They don't need to bring him back.
I'm not saying they need to, I'm saying...
I think it would be a bad move to do so, actually.
It would.
He served his purpose in the story.
It feels
they don't need to.
It feels like DC is known for making bad decisions at this point. They don't. They the bad movies tend to outweigh the good DC movies. So.
And that's not even just counting the DCEU, because if you really count
Green Lantern.
If you count only add up all the DC movies that have existed since the original Christopher Reeve Superman, if you count, say, the first two Supermans being good, then you say the first two Tim Burton Batman movies, and then you say the Dark Knight trilogy, and now Wonder Woman. And then you add up all the ones that weren't in that. it's
it feels like DC is known for making bad decisions.
I mean, there was Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, Catwoman, Green Lantern, all those other DCEU movies. Yeah, it's
Hopefully, here's hope.
the Superman sequels, the Superman Returns.
If I can say anything, here's hoping with like how good this movie is and how well it's doing. Hopefully, this gives hopefully the Justice League can be even nearly as good as this movie.
Yeah.
Because even though it was directed mostly by Zack Snyder again, I really this movie gives hope that there's at least there'll be some good in the Justice League.
Yeah.
And because there's gonna be a freaking Cyborg movie, a Flash movie, with not using the same actor from the Flash TV show.
You know, the Cyborg movie, just because I used to watch Teen Titans, I really hope at least once he says "booyah."
Probably, I imagine you will, because it's in his.
Just fire his like
booyah!
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on, it would be such a wasted opportunity to not do that at least once.
Now that I'm thinking, I want in the end credits scene to play the old school Teen Titans Go theme song.
No, not Teen Titans Go. No.
You remember that was the name of the song in the in that original cartoon.
Yeah.
That was the first lyric of that song. Is Teen Titans Go.
Yeah. But
no, I understand. Not the crappy reboot. It was actually the first lyric in the song of the one that we both remember.
Yeah, basically the reboot. They just turned it into a crappy Nickelodeon, Saturday morning show. It's like this is not what it's anyway.
Yeah, we're rambling. I think we need to wrap this up.
Yeah. So until next video, whenever that will be. See you later.
Goodbye.
I'm the Knight.
Wonder Gauntlets.